Yeah. Peace. How's everybody doing? I'm Juice Wanna. As you can see, hold on, let me bring in my lower thirds, right? Go, this is Grand String slash Old Jaw Gritty. And we're talking about Operation Burn the Plantation. As you know, I'm giving my full support to Kyrie Irving. I'm giving partial support to Kanye, right? You know, I've been on this since boycotting Troop and Reebok. So like I haven't wore Reebok since, the whole apartheid thing back in the day. So this is how for me it's like, okay, it's not one of those jump into it. It's like I'm happy, that there are those within our community who show the true sacrifice. And I mean by right, I could be all talk, right? So you wouldn't know how long I was like something, how long I thought or felt a certain way. So you wouldn't know the sacrifices just being this way is, right? If it wasn't for somebody who was on the other side, who played the game to whatever degree, not to say that they were shucking and jiving, but it was just life, right? And when, life conflicts with those who want to dictate your life, then you can see a sacrifice, right? The world can see a sacrifice. Like, okay, here goes somebody who was simply, making a post, whatever, and I'm actually gonna that's what I was going to see. See if I could see it on Amazon Prime. Well, anyway, right? Um what I'm going to do is look at it. But like I said, to have a station who's on it. Like I thought I had to go to like the internet, so I was on YouTube looking for it and stuff like that. I didn't know it was on Amazon. You know what I mean? So then it comes into, yeah, there has to be a problem because I was watching some young lady, and I believe was it her who well, anyway, she did a good commentary. It's a young Caucasian, I believe she was Caucasian, um young lady, right? And I felt it, respected it, and inside that I believe it was her because I seen a couple of people stuff, and inside of that it was basically saying, wait a minute, you saying he anti-Semitic, but the Jews own Amazon, if I'm correct. This was what was stated, so I'm only going off that. I haven't did any research, right? But if they own this and they have it on their station, then wouldn't that mean that they're promoting anti-Semitism themselves? And if that's the case, then how is you're setting everybody up by having it on the station, right? Or Amazon is doing the right thing, allowing free speech, and now you have those who can use that just to cause this type of situation. Like you have something there. You have the Kanye's, the Kyrie Irvings, the Nick Cannons. You have these people, right? And they're urban, ethnic, whatever way you want to label it, black, right, Hebrew, whatever, they of this color, hue, right? Or around it, non-European, should we say, right? So here it is. You know that there's this growing consciousness or a sense of awareness or um new direction when it comes to mental identification, like like how one identifies with themselves, right? You give these utensils, Bibles, and these type of things, and this information, like we can show like the Hebrew Israelites and all of these organizations being around, right? And sure, we could say, there has been expression of this same anti-Semitism, going on, even in the 50s, towards like say Malcolm X and Nation of Islam and all of these types. So we could say, yeah, there has been that. But on whatever way that this conflict where a people have taken scripture, right, as an identifier, if you saying that this is not correct based on these wordings, then one or two things have to be. You have to go at the people who put out this translation of the Bible, right? We didn't do that. We didn't. I don't think there's a black translation of the Bible, right? Like Gideon's and Tom King James and all of that. There's no. I don't think any of those versions is the black version, right? Black authors or whatever, right? So we are dealing with what is put in a book, what is presented as, okay, this is how we identify because of this stuff right here. All you can say is all of that is anti-Semitic, and everybody is looking and saying, well, like, what does that mean when, you can identify, you know, Semitic people based on, certain lands, right? At least that's what the perception is, right? We're not saying that's what you're saying or how I understand the mission, but either way, I like I said, I'm more with my peoples. I just understand that there's a misunderstanding in it as well. But either way, it's a system that, for me, we need to get off. And when we identify this system, my thing is do what they do, just don't use theirs to do it. Meaning that we're in about to be 2023, right? If there's somebody, right, willing to, like, I was on the front line. I show you my record. I show you, even within my community, this system, right, they hide. And so, they'll, when they see you like that, they'll even, assassinate you right next to you. And we don't realize this because they are also groomed at a very young age in this system, right? So you can be around people and not really realize that, you are amongst the enemy because they're trained before you train. Most people who think they street smart and all of that, they come into that um um like, how you say it, like firsthand, like right there. There's no passed down information. It's on the spot training. So with that on the spot training, imagine you have, a system that's set up to have, the ball is already in place, and you can see that even with, the rappers, and, like they could be associated with, other things and this, you know, you could tell that there's lineage and passage, but that could just also be through association of it. So it's hard to explain anything in life, to a totality of that. My thing is as a people, utilizing this system is not gonna do us any good. We can use Kyrie, we can use Kanye, we can use Nick Cannon, all as perfect examples of why we should just simply let them have that and live out what the Bible says. And that means, let me explain, right? We can take the Fred Hampton movie, right? And we can take the understanding of what was J. Edgar Hoover's gold, right? Hey, how y'all doing out there, right? What was the gold? The gold was to, how you say it, remove the any inkling of a black messiah, right? We see the same thing if we wanted to talk about Jesus, right? Trying to get to this before it's able to come to fruition, right? So, the Pharaoh, Caesar, whatever you want to say, is hearing the cries of the people, right? And so they know through that comes a great leader, a Moses, right? Somebody who will go up against, the what's the name, take his people and liberate them, right? And how in the system of Exodus, that's a system. If you read that system and you understand the tactics that were used, right? So I'm speaking to the black messiah, right? I at one time, I looked at myself as, the resurrection of, if I was to look at any character, outside of being God, right? In the Bible, I said I could see me being Moses, the one who's willing, hey, if I have to shed that blood, if I have to lay it down, I'm going to do that, for the people, right? And we understand that it could be from those who are right around us who might not identify as us, right? So then we got this, this fight. He understands that, I might not be the best, person for this. I'm already deemed a killer, and that's for him. Like he's deemed, he's not seeing, even though they'll say, it's through the stuttering or whatever. So we could say it either that way, or we could say it as, having this buffer, right? Here go the ruler. He's, the God. He's laying the laws. He's going away. He's going up to the top. He's laying these laws. He liberated the people. He's God, right? That's why the God of, even though we take that as like, as that person, no, it's God of Moses, like the law, the rule of Moses and his reign, right? So, um, he was laying the laws, and here it is. When he comes back, he's seeing that they can't leave the old traditions, that old fantasy way of thinking, right? So you have that. You. So they are attempting in succeeding to constantly have more people willing to, cry about the Pharaoh than to prepare for the liberation of the Pharaoh, right? So as long as they can keep the Messiah, whether that be, an Abraham or Moses, or, you want to say Jesus, but, however you might identify that, but they are doing that because we have more people who promote overtly and outwardly European stability. That way, I won't say cloning and buffooning and all of that. That's why I said outwardly and convert. I was actually smoking this right here. This is some black runs, so forgive me, right? Covertly, right? So in this covert, right, way, they constantly, like I said, the number one thing that I use is the economics, right? We'll say this about economics and this, that, and the third. So in that, right, you are overlooking, like, when I say economics, I mean in the sense of using it along with an older logic of hunter gatherer. So they put this inferiority complex in you inside your households and everything, and they are telling you that this hunter gatherer, you go out there, but I've never seen a gazelle select who catches it. As far as I'm concerned, the gazelle trying to run, making sure nobody catches it, right? So when we look at the job market, and it turns around and it tells you it ain't what you know, it's who you know, then you basically telling me I need to know the gazelle, right? And so having that false system, right, and people not even understanding when we made the shift from an agricultural, right, meaning and trading and bartering, and your blood, sweat, and tears was in the soil, and you was able to benefit, you reap what you sowed, right? So we say these things, but really now that whole system has shifted over, to, Satan won his pay, because the old system was Caesar won his pay. Now it's Satan, because he devised a system of taking you away from an agricultural system into an economical system where you take imaginary things, say the dollar bill or whatever, and that goes through somebody making sure no matter what, you don't short them. Right? When the economic system was set up, it was set up for you not to be able to short the system, right? And so now, even with the money, and they saw all of these ways, they set it up, the 80s and all of that, to see all of these ways and to bring things to an halt. Why do you think they have synthetic drugs right around the time of, digital currency, and all of these things are now able to be dictated by a manufacturing source, just like the food you eat. And so everything is slowly rationing you out. You don't see it, right? You don't see this slow rationing, of resources, because you are putting the energy into it, right? So you're working for that system, a penny a day wages, right? So even, when it's all over, that's just those people who built that foundation. That's why I'm here. That's why it's, Operation Burn the Plantation. It's time to reveal this system and go up against it. That's it. You gotta learn the system. And these are like, I'm not one of them people who talks, in clues and metaphors, and within the conversation, there's the message, and you have to be keen enough and alert enough. See, I'm not associated with anything that, that there's like a sword over my head outside of the sword of life. You understand what I'm saying? But, being righteous, even, those who are indoctrinated into a quote unquote despicable, there's more people who believe in that system as far as a resistance, right? Even though the facilitators of those systems are, so even, yeah, like I knew it. I said, yo, they deliberately, when I record, to do that. I guess it's like to, hone in on exactly where I'm located. You know what I mean? That's just the system. That's the system that they use, to hone in, because I'm in a disclosed location. You know what I mean? So, they, they can horn in. Anyway, I don't care though. Like I said, it's what it is. You can't stop this information from getting out. I don't have that fear. You understand what I'm saying? I don't have that fear. It's not in me. The truth gets out, and it's time for the people to know what's going on and how to fight back. You can't fight something if you don't know what you're fighting, right? So the thing is, we need to train our people on the truth, not our truth, or my self truth, but a universal truth. The things that, right, that answer the question. Don't, like me, I'm not a crying about Pharaoh type of person. So you won't, yo, if that was a white person, like I don't do that. I know if you ever been around me, right, you know that, I hope we all, made our our, what you call it, our peace in life. You know what I mean? Cause I'm not gonna watch it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not into any crime, right? So I don't have to never worry. I'm not, selling drugs and robbing people, right? So I'm not committing any crime. So I don't worry. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm telling the truth that could be considered criminal. And I'm expressing the fact that I'm willing to do whatever it takes to continue this telling this truth to the Messiah comes, right? I believe, like all my life I always never been into the Bible, right? I mean, into religion, period. I never known about a God. I used to, if I'm calling myself God at one point in time, you know what I mean? And, so I never believed in any of that. I mean, in any way, shape, or form. I was raised with a grandmother who literally never talked about, a mystery. Like, she never promoted Christmas, Easter bunnies. Like, she just never, you know what I mean? She just never, those are just never things that she promoted. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I ever seen a Christmas tree in my house, it was one of these little like, how you screw it and it like ding 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 like spins. It was like one of them little ones. It was like a little like tank, like, what do you call tinsel? Like, it was like, so it was like a silver type of Christmas tree, and that was something that she was given. So I think she like twisted it one time, and I ended up. I think I twisted it more times after that than her. You know what I mean? So, um, like, I just wasn't raised on that. When I went out in the street, you know what I'm saying, I knew people and, their mothers, I would question them. And I was looked at as, strange, a little young kid questioning. So that's to tell you, from then I was always going to be deemed, I was going to be labeled bad. You're bad because you question these things. And so after a while, if you think you're going to starve me out because I don't play that game. Say I'm over here and, I know who my enemy is and I'm going after my enemy, right? And inside of that, you cast your judgment because you deal with that environment. Of course, you gonna label that individual this negative. Cool. That person is still gonna eat. That's how I always tell people how you get black on black crime. You get black on black crime because both will complain about the European, right? But one side is so afraid of the European that if the other side does to the European what the European has done to him, since those who are willing to fight that war, because that's what it becomes. Like, if you look at global war and politics, you understand it's not you unless you fight back, one side is totally dominating you, and that's not a fight. You're not at war. You're a victim of war, right? Or you're a victim of an invasion, or an occupation, right? They occupying that area and you are just those people in it, and so you're subjugated to that situation. So, right, they can relabel America, but say if you were the natives, of America, those who identify as the Aboriginals, they are, operating on your land. You know what I'm saying? Because they can easily get up and go whenever, or if it was ever that that problem like before when you seen the French bouncing out, leaving. You see the Spaniards, right? Until there was the situation of who hammered out who was gonna be here. They was all occupying, the land, right? And so you was under, that occupation. Those who came in and just basically, you know, made you subjects. So you can either resist, right? And in that resistance, we have, like I said, within our community, those who have seen through history what that resistance entail. We talk about, Black Wall Street, but that was because white people were going losing, and so they said, hey. So we see that even though we talk about this new Black Wall Street, we also cannot negate the information. That's why I said we need to abandon any system and mentally start fresh, right? Now we can build it off of our and I'm talking to that Moses, right? That Moses. This is not for everybody. This is for that Moses, that person who's gonna go all out and do it, like ignore even the people and do what you need to do to liberate the people. Do what you need to do. Use the examples of those who did, like, with my boy, Colin Ferguson, right? Here it is. It might be messed up what he had to do. I'm not saying what he did in the victims, right? But there's a war, right? And we see the war on our side. So a person can threaten me and go, oh yeah, they can kill. Listen, we've been suffering our side of just forever, right? So that's nothing, right? Killing off a person's words is nothing, right? But to show the real revealing, when I was young, what I learned from that wasn't, go out there and shoot up trains. That's not what I got from his message, right? What I got from his message was the legal criminal system, just the legal system period, was a sham. And so when they said he was mocking the criminal system, no, he was showing the criminal system's operations. You understand what I'm saying? He was showing, and touch on that, and just like probably do a whole thing on my views on Colin Ferguson, like in how I saw him. You know what I mean? And so I like, even when I hear Star say that, I'm always respected. Like, wow, like he gives shout outs to certain people that I can say, okay, when I was younger, for like I said, and when I say brief, I mean that, right? But I still got to acknowledge I did put like a Larry Davis on this pedestal until I analyzed. Like I said, I stopped listening to rap music and all of that because I understood it was non-conducive to black um unity. You understand what I'm saying? Like it's unifying us, but only in the destruction of us to give us this joint direction. So anybody who know me, like they saw me in the street, but they didn't never understood my movements in the streets. Like I never tried to get rich. I always tried to give the message so I can go back to all of the states, all of the place I hustled in my life, and I'm good because whether I had conflicts with certain people, I'm good in the hood and I've tested it. I done laid it down in certain areas and still went back there and got major love, right? On more than one occasion. So, it's just what it is. Not to say that there wouldn't be, those individuals, but anybody understood my movements, understood, like I said, it was in a righteous cause, right? So, for me, this is how I move and this is what I promote, right? That we as a people need to make this understanding of we are a unit. We're gonna ride as a unit. Anything outside of that unit is not us. And that Messiah needs to lay that down, right? And I guess, for that to happen, the revolution needs to be televised. You know what I'm saying? It needs to be streamed. I was always against it. I was always thinking that wasn't, the way. You know what I'm saying? But I understand now. I understand that it is the way, right? That, all of them cameras, all of them cell phones, it's going to provide, the proof. Like the Rodney King. That's why they always trying to cancel it out. Because they are going to do whatever it takes to cancel out the truth. You know what I mean? And so the more, and the thing is, like I said, we got people within us. We got people who will say, like I said, a Kanye will say 70% of the things that keep us really bound to that system. I don't care what you hear the 30%, and the 30% is the 100% of Kyrie Irving's, the Nick Cannons, the Kaepernicks. You know what I mean? Like it's them. Whether they are well versed and educated or not, they are going at it with this genuine belief or understanding, depending, right? And with that, they are, like basically moving forward, right? Whereas somebody is, doing things because they're getting the short end and the short end of the stick. Those are two different things. One is not in it. The other one was making the deal with the devil, and now that the devil is, reneging on the deal, should we say, you want to turn around to the people who don't realize that you not really them. Every skin folk is not my kinfolk, because my kinfolk would never, use their own to get on and then turn around and go and wife up and lovey huggy in a system that you're gonna turn around later and argue but defend at the same time. You know what I mean? And that's where we have this confusion within our people. If you're gonna be with the white people, you have to literally, and when I say white people, I'm not saying that like, white people are racist. I'm saying as in laying down this understanding of who we are, right? And we talk about, we have to be like the Jews. Well, the Jews separated themselves from all the other families and all of that other stuff out there in the Middle East, right? They came out of that. And out of that, they tell you, no, we not this, we, right? And whatever understanding you get, they just own it that they the Jews. Whatever that means, right? Whatever that means, because, most black people don't even know the Bible, period. So outside of you saying you God's chosen people, right? You saying this, and as far as our understandings of that system, that y'all saying that y'all the chosen people. And I'm saying that this is what I know now, but through my journeys and talking to the individuals within my community, that was they're the chosen people, this, that, and the third, right? So with that information, psychologically placed into the people, they can't even resist now, right? Those are the chosen people, right? Yada, yada, yada. So once you look at it, what they went through is documented and yada, yada, yada. Nobody is saying that. Look what we went through is documented. And so, I can see in my community, they're taking that the role of the Jews or the Israelites because it seems parallel to themselves, like it was a message, a subliminal message to the people, right? And it was telling them, that this right here is what you went through. So if the people really identified with the message, when we reach Exodus, right, when we have that Messiah into Exodus, right, hopefully, my eyes can see it. Like I said, I always see myself as, Moses, because I'm here to eat up all of the lies, all of the technology and all of that, right? So as time goes on, like I said, I'm going to be going harder and harder, on these platforms. Like I've been really neglecting it. I haven't, because I'm not a clout chaser. I'm not into none of that. You know what I mean? So now, like with this, this operation in place for me, the only way to burn the plantation is to go up and deal with these platforms. And so that's what I will be doing, from here on out. But nonetheless, about to close in on this 45. And so I'm up out of here. This is Juice Warner. This is Old York Gritty, smoking jokes, politics as usual. Wow. Don't forget to hit that like button, right? That bell and that subscribe so you can get constant, updates on whenever new content is being uploaded. Yes, get that green thumb for that Grand Strange page, because I'm actually going to be doing my review. I'm about to do a chop of my pink Panamas. I'll probably do it tomorrow or whatever. So, I'll let y'all know. Yeah, I gotta find my scale. I haven't used it since I told you I moved. So, nonetheless, I'm up out of here until next time, people. Hold it down.